People think marriages break because someone cheats. Sometimes, they break because nobody notices the thin line, until one day, they can no longer see it. My name is Mark. Emily and I had been married for 3 years. Not the kind of marriage that looked perfect from the outside, the kind that felt perfect on the inside. We laughed more than we argued. We never went to bed angry. Every Friday night was ours. Pizza, a movie, our phones turned upside down on the coffee table. It was our little tradition. Emily used to joke, "If we ever become rich, promise me we still keep Pizza Fridays." I always gave her the same answer. "I'll buy a bigger TV." She'd roll her eyes. "I married an idiot." "You absolutely did." Life wasn't exciting, it was peaceful, and I loved every ordinary minute of it. Then Ryan came back. Emily had known him since they were children. They grew up on the same street, went to the same schools, shared the same group of friends. I'd heard his name dozens of times over the years. When he finally moved back, I was genuinely happy for her. Old friendships are hard to replace. The first time we met was at a friend's barbecue. Ryan walked over with a smile and held out his hand. "So you're the guy who stole Emily?" I laughed. "I prefer one." He laughed too. "Fair enough." Within half an hour, I understood why everyone liked him. He was easy to talk to, never loud, never trying to be the center of attention, just easy company. On the drive home, Emily smiled. "So? You approve?" "I do." "You were right. I like him." For the next few weeks, life simply went on. Friends got together, birthdays, weekend barbecues, game nights. Ryan was usually there. Nothing unusual about that. He belonged to the same circle. Then one evening, something tiny caught my attention. We were at a birthday party. About 15 people were scattered around the backyard. Some were talking, some were eating, some were standing near the grill. Emily was chatting with a couple of friends. Ryan was across the yard talking to someone else. I turned away for a moment. When I looked back, Ryan was standing beside Emily. I didn't think much of it. People move around. Conversations change. A little while later, Emily wandered over to another group. 5 minutes later, Ryan was there too. Again, I ignored it. Until the next weekend. Another barbecue. Different house, different people, different conversations. Somehow, Ryan ended up beside Emily again. Not because she called him, not because he interrupted anyone. He just drifted there. I caught myself watching him, then immediately felt ridiculous. "What are you doing, Mark? They've known each other for 20 years. They're old friends." I shook the thought out of my head. A couple of weeks later, another friend invited everyone over for game night. Halfway through the evening, someone asked Emily, "So? Still addicted to caramel lattes?" Before she could answer, Ryan smiled. "Not anymore. She's a vanilla girl now." Emily laughed. "See? I told you he remembers everything." Everyone laughed. So did I. But this time, I didn't stop thinking about it. Not because he remembered, because I didn't. Driving home that night, Emily noticed how quiet I was. "You okay?" "Yeah. Tired." That wasn't entirely true. I wasn't tired. I was thinking. Not about Ryan, about myself. Was I imagining things? Or was I noticing something everyone else had missed? By the time we pulled into our driveway, I'd convinced myself of one thing. I was overthinking it. After all, Ryan had never flirted with my wife. He'd never disrespected me. He'd never crossed a line. At least, not one I could clearly see. Over the next few weeks, life simply kept moving. Work, weekends, friends. Nothing dramatic. Nothing anyone would have called a problem. One Saturday morning, Emily walked into the kitchen holding a small picture frame. "Can we hang this in the living room?" I smiled. "Sure." I'll do it after I pick up a few things from the hardware store. Perfect. About 40 minutes later, I came home. The picture was already hanging on the wall. Ryan was standing on a chair putting away the drill. He climbed down with a grin. I was driving past. Emily said she needed an extra pair of hands. I looked at the frame. It was perfectly straight. Emily smiled. Looks good, doesn't it? It does. Ryan grabbed his keys. I'll see you guys later. After he left, I stood there for a second longer than I should have. Not because Ryan had done anything wrong. He'd simply helped. Exactly what a friend would do. A week later, a group of us met for a charity fun run. Everyone arrived at different times. Emily and I were talking with another couple when someone called her name from across the parking lot. She excused herself for a moment. I stayed where I was. A few minutes later, I looked over. Emily had joined another group. Ryan was there too. They were laughing about something from high school, nothing unusual. A little later, everyone started walking toward the registration desk. Without thinking, Ryan slowed his pace until he was walking beside Emily. Again. Not because she asked him to, not because he interrupted anyone. It just kept happening. On the drive home, Emily was humming along with the radio. She glanced at me. You're quiet today. I smiled. Just thinking. About work? I looked out the windshield. No. About us. She turned the radio down. What about us? I took a slow breath. Have you ever noticed Ryan always seems to end up beside you? She frowned. What do you mean? I don't know. I've just started noticing it. She thought for a moment, then shrugged. I guess we naturally end up talking. We've known each other forever. I nodded. I know. She reached over and squeezed my hand. You're not jealous, are you? I smiled. No. I trust you. She smiled back. I know. She turned the music up again. The conversation ended there. But mine didn't. For the first time, I stopped asking myself whether Ryan was doing something wrong. Instead, I started asking myself a different question. Was our marriage slowly losing the little spaces that were supposed to belong only to us? A few days later, Emily came home with a smile I hadn't seen in months. Our anniversary is next week. I know. So, I've made a decision. She walked over, wrapped her arms around my neck and smiled. I don't want gifts. I don't want a fancy dinner. I just want you. For 3 days. No work. No emails. No phones. Just us. I smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. That evening we sat at the dining table looking through hotels. Emily finally pointed at one. This. I looked at the photos. A quiet little beach resort, private cottages, a long stretch of empty beach. Perfect. I booked it. Emily clapped her hands like a little kid. Then she leaned over and kissed me. I can't wait. 3 whole days. And I don't have to share you with anyone. I laughed. You never did. Before she could answer, the doorbell rang. Ryan. Emily opened the door. He walked in carrying a box of donuts. I was nearby. I figured I'd stop in. Emily smiled. Come on in. He set the donuts on the table, then noticed the booking confirmation still open on my laptop. Oh. What's this? Emily turned the screen toward him. Our anniversary trip. We finally booked it. Ryan looked at the photos. His smile slowly faded. Not completely, just enough. It lasted less than a second. If I had blinked, I'd have missed it. Then Emily slipped her hand into mine. I cannot wait to have him all to myself for 3 days. Ryan looked at our hands. Something flickered across his face. Disappointment. Pain. I couldn't tell, but it wasn't happiness. A second later, he smiled again. So, where is this? I told him. He nodded slowly. I've always wanted to go there. I smiled. You should. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen for a few seconds, then looked back at us. There are still rooms available that weekend. Emily looked surprised. You checked? Ryan shrugged. I was curious. For a moment, nobody said anything. Then Ryan smiled. Maybe I'll come with you guys. Nobody spoke. I looked at him, then at Emily, then back at Ryan. For weeks, I'd been telling myself I was imagining things. The birthday parties, the barbecues, the way he always found his way beside Emily. The look on his face just moments ago, when Emily said she wanted 3 days alone with me. And now this, an anniversary trip, a husband, a wife, 3 days alone. Why would another man want to be part of that? Maybe I was wrong. God, I wanted to be wrong, because if I wasn't, then staying silent wouldn't protect anyone. It would only delay the truth. I took a slow breath. Enough. The confusion had to end. I looked at Ryan. Ryan, he smiled. Yeah? Did you mean what you just said? His smile faded slightly. You mean coming with you guys? I nodded. Yes. He gave a small shrug. I thought it'd be fun. I pulled out a chair. Sit with me for a minute. Ryan hesitated, then slowly sat opposite me. Emily looked between us. Mark. I gently raised my hand. Just hear me out. She nodded. I looked back at Ryan. Help me understand something. He waited. Why do you want to come? Ryan looked down for a moment. I don't know. I've always wanted to visit that place. I nodded. So have thousands of people. But they don't ask to join another couple's anniversary. Ryan said nothing. I continued quietly. Ryan, do you know why we're going? To celebrate your anniversary. That's the occasion, I said. But that's not the reason. He frowned. I glanced at Emily. Life gets busy. Work. Bills. Friends. Family. Every day, someone wants a piece of us. So once in a while, we leave everything behind. Not because we need a beach, because we need each other. I looked back at him. You understand that. I know you do. He slowly nodded. So, if you understand why we're going, why did you want to come? Ryan opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He looked at Emily, then quickly looked away. Another silence. I don't know. For the first time, I believed him. Not because I thought he was innocent, but because I honestly didn't think he'd ever asked himself that question. Everything suddenly became clear. Ryan didn't want the vacation. He wanted to be where Emily was. I sat there for a long moment, then quietly said, I've spent weeks trying to convince myself I was wrong. I wanted to be wrong. The room fell silent. I looked him straight in the eye. Ryan, tell me the truth. Are you in love with Emily? Ryan froze. His breathing changed. His eyes slowly drifted toward Emily, then down to the floor. He couldn't answer, not because he didn't know, because he couldn't bring himself to say it. I slowly turned toward Emily. No, I said softly. Don't answer me. He owes that answer to you. Emily stared at me, completely confused. She searched my face, looking for anger. She found none. Looking for jealousy. She found none. Only a quiet certainty that made her heart sink. She whispered, Mark. I simply gave her a small nod. She looked at me for another long moment, then slowly turned toward Ryan. Her voice trembled. Ryan, She swallowed hard. Do you love me? Ryan looked at Emily. His eyes filled with tears. For a long moment, he couldn't speak. Finally, he whispered, I tried every day not to. Emily's face went pale. She took an unconscious step back. Ryan wiped his eyes. I'm sorry. I should have left the moment I realized. Without another word, he turned and quietly walked out of the house. The front door closed. Neither of us moved. Emily stood there, staring at the door. Then she slowly turned toward me. There were tears in her eyes. You knew? I shook my head. No. I only suspected. I kept hoping I was wrong. She covered her mouth. The last few weeks replayed across her face. The parties, the conversations, the little moments she'd never thought twice about. Now, they all looked different. She looked at me again. I'm so sorry. I thought you were overthinking. I walked over to her. I know. She shook her head. No. I didn't see it. I never saw the line. A tear rolled down her cheek. And I never realized how much this must have hurt you. I gently took her hand. I never wanted you to stop being friends with Ryan. I just wanted our marriage to stay ours. Emily nodded through her tears. It will. She held my hand tighter. I understand now. Sometimes, love isn't protected by suspicion. It's protected by boundaries. Healthy friendships don't disappear after marriage, but healthy boundaries become even more important. Because the space between husband and wife should always remain theirs alone. If this story touched you, like and subscribe to Forge Stories for a new story every day. And tell us in the comments, do you think Mark did the right thing by speaking up?